Okay, it's Steve here. You happen across a chainsaw diary, which is me talking about this silly situation where I found all these different Chinese chainsaws. I'm in Louisiana. We've had hurricanes. We've had 3 hurricanes. The first of the 3 hurricanes, I got a shipment of Chinese chainsaws. They were junk. I tried to figure out what was it about them that was junk. I started figuring out doing business with China is not easy. There's too many dishonest Chinamen running around China willing to rip off an American. And that's actually a widely known scenario because I have Chinese women in business warning me about doing business with the Chinese because Chinese men seem to not really be all that honest. So for the longest time, I wasn't saying anything negative about Farmertec because I needed to utilize Farmertec and try to, see if I could get into some business using some Farmertec products. Farmertec is a factory more commonly known as Hutzel, or not commonly known in the United States, but it's Hutzel, and then their Chinese name is more of, whatever city they're in, machinery company or something. They got like 4 names: Farmertec, Holtzfforma. Holtzfforma is a brand name. So the guy was pretty clever that owns it. Wealthy, by the way. Very wealthy. And he decided to brand these chainsaws as Holtzfforma. And he uses a eagle and a shield, and it makes it look like it's German. So, that's pretty cool. So basically, you got these companies appealing to the American market and or Russian market and or European, I guess basically Caucasian folks, So you got Farmertec and Neotec. Neotec is I think Neotec's in Hangzhou. So I did a little discussion with Neotec, but there's 1 or 2 distributors in the United States, and I got an ongoing battle. They might have quit fucking with me, which is very smart if they decided to. Because like I've said before, I don't like the F word so much, but I'll fuck back. And I thought exactly what would I say about that particular issue. Anyway, I don't generally stop. So it'll go as far as it needs to go. So I've threatened a federal lawsuit, and now it's not even a year since the start of that. I got at least 2 years. So it's always good to get your ducks in a row. Now, if you're the defendant, like I was a defendant in criminal cases, and I said this before in Chainsaw Diaries, but I didn't get far enough along with it before I switched topics. If you're a defendant and you're innocent, for example, time is on your side to gather your strategy to prove your case. Because I've been in that situation before, and it's on the internet. Man, I smoked the state of Georgia. I think they first gave me 6 charges. We showed them how the 6 charges were totally illegal based on the fact that there was not actually a crime, and then they said, well, shoot, there's not, so let's add 17 more. So 6 plus 17 is like, they got it up to 21. So it wasn't 17. 6 plus whatever, 21. 15 more charges, whatever. So I smoked them, but it took 3 years to get a trial. I put in my speedy trial demand. Judge did not rule on the constitutional speedy trial demand. So I had time to prepare. And I helped my main attorney. I had 4 attorneys helping me all together through those cases. The main criminal case against me, I had 1 main attorney. He was really good. And at that time, his track record for trials was 36 to 36 wins at trial. Zero losses. 0 freaking losses. Now, he did not take everything to trial. He settled stuff. If somebody pled guilty, they pled guilty. But if he had a case that really should not have been taken to trial, or the guy's innocent or whatever, 36 to 36. He was a good attorney. He's still a buddy of mine. My wife and I stayed up there at his place when we were through town. Last time we were through town. So Okay, so getting back, so I've got to do this federal lawsuit because now I've got, like I said before, I got all these guys linked together, man. I mean, they could say, well, I'm not going to tell you what they could say because I'm not going to help with their defenses. But it's going to be tough now because these guys set out to damage me. And I think they were pretty successful at damaging me. But, you know, who's to say I was going to be successful anyway, right? Haha. We'll find out. Okay. So that leads me to tell you there's many things that I can't tell you on the channel. Many things brewing, and I can't tell you because there's been a chilling effect. That's what they call it in law. There's been a chilling effect as to what I could do on this channel. And you know, when they set out to do this bad stuff, you know, I lost a bunch of subscribers in those couple days. They were dropping like flies. It took me a long time to kind of prove what these guys did, because they did a good job making me look crazy. Now, I'll go ahead and tell you, I'm certainly crazy like many people, but I'm crazy good. That's what I say. I'm crazy good, passionate, and you know, sometimes I get fixated on something, you know, obsessed, what have you. I'm not obsessed in a hobby sense with these particular chainsaws, but what I decided to do was I got ripped off that first time, and I'm like, by golly, I'm gonna find out what the hell's wrong with these things, and I'm gonna make them better, find out where we can get some good ones, find out what's going on. Now, in the course of doing that, I've been ripped off a lot of times by a lot of different Chinese people. But, you know, you got to find people that you can trust. And that's kind of hard. Because what they'll do is they'll send you something, they'll make a mistake, or they'll make a flaw. And then their answer is, sorry. Probably in a Chinese accent. Sorry, Mr. Thief. We give you a refund next time. Something stupid. So Farmertec, I think I got a bunch of 880s and their T-handles pulled out. The T-handle you pull with your hand on the rope. T-handle's all pulled out. If you guys know what I'm talking about. Piece of junk. Got to use the D-handle. If you use the D-handle, it's a big old D-looking shape handle, and it doesn't pull out so easy. So I'm like, man, I got a dozen of these flawed, broken up, you know, handles. And they're like, well, we'll give you 2. What? You know, you get somebody might get a chainsaw, might give you $2.99 for a chainsaw, and then all of a sudden he can't even use it because his handle broke, and then he's pissed and wants his money back and stuff, you know. And I try to work with everybody. I still got to figure out John Edwards. John Edwards burned up his I think it's John Edwards up in Ohio. He burned up his damn 880 on a 50-to-1 ratio with still ultra oil milling with a 60-inch bar. I got to show you guys how to make a 60-inch bar. I made the 60-inch bar, and it was smooth. That was pretty cool. Second one I tried to make too fast, and it didn't turn out perfect. First one turned out perfect. Pretty cool. And it worked too, and it was smooth. So his chainsaw didn't burn up because of the bar. But my buddy in Jawa and I, it's on the channel, we've been messing with that 880. He's going to put a new cylinder in it because he thought he cleaned up the cylinder, put a new piston in, and just wouldn't fire up right. So evidently it's toasted too much. So got to fix that situation still. But see, John doesn't want to put $150 towards the replacement of his burned up saw that 50-to-1. I told him 32-to-1. And he admits, I told him 32-to-1. He just read the instructions on the back of the bottle and decided the instructions were better than my recommendation, which is reasonable, you know. Who's to say I know anything, right? So, okay. So the 880s from Farmertec, you know, we give you 2. Okay, well, that's not really good enough. But, you know, what can you do? So, more recently, I got a handful of 460s. And I tried to put the word out on some videos. Do you know that all of those cylinders for those 460s were full of sand? Can you believe that shit? Not only that, the pull ropes break. Not only that, the chain tensioners don't work. Not only that, the kits came with a large percentage of missing parts. And I took all the parts out and I showed him, look at this. Look at this bag. Look at what it's missing. It's missing all these important parts. Now, some of those parts are also matching a 660 chainsaw. And it's like, how much do you want to bitch about a few parts? You know, maybe you can source them yourself. But I told Farmertec, man, I said, look here. I said, this is unacceptable. And they're just like, well, sorry, we will improve. But it's like, what do you do with your money? You know, you lose your money. So, anyway, you know, there was very few things I would get from Farmertec. And the 200T, my buddy on a channel in Java, he's looked at one or two of them, and he says that kit's pretty good. That kit's pretty good. He says the cylinder's pretty good. So some of their cylinders are sourcing. Let me tell you, they have said they built their own factory. I don't know the details. And I don't know that I'm ever going to get the details because I may not care anymore at this point in time. But they were sourcing everything from somebody else. So 880s, he's done really good on locking down 880s. He's the only one that controls anything to do with 880s. Some people might have a few cylinders, but as far as crankcases and other major components and parts, just that's it. Same way with 460s. So now he sourced a lot from Hanakawa, which is Hehong. You know, I was a representative for Hehong. You know, so I got things I'm thinking about on this situation, and I just don't know which direction I'm going still. So somebody commented or something, do you have a website? And I think it was Kentucky 92 or something, or maybe he sent me a text message, something like that. And I'm like, no, I haven't got it dialed in yet. So then he's like, sends me another message, you know, don't brag about your 381 until it's been around 15 years. And I think I told him, you don't know nothing. Then of course I pissed him off. And then he was like leaving comments everywhere about how I'm just a con man because I don't even have a website. So, I mean, people are behaving all screwy, but that's what you get when you go out on the internet. So it's par for the course, right? It just goes with the flow, your territory, you know, it goes with the territory. So I might put it on pause because it's going to be loud and obnoxious for a minute. Matter of fact, we're at 13 minutes, so this is part one. So we'll close it down. We'll talk about some more wacky crap when we come back. Like, subscribe, share, thumbs up. Take care. Look for part two.